Archangel Raphael, the guardian of the East. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Story Time. True accounts of divinely designed life experiences. Tonight is about a double rainbow. It's going to be quick, but it's so spectacular and special and magical. And it's taking a lot for me to own this story. And so I'm pushing myself. So, happy Tuesday, beautifuls. I see I've got Erica on here. And remind me of your name again. I remember it was... I can't remember. I remember thinking I loved it, and now I'm hearing my grandmother's name, and I know it was not my grandmother's name. Beautiful Earth to Rose. Anyhow, so this story was in February of 2019. So this was nearly now 3 years ago. And I was going to be spending the day in San Diego. And for those of you who are not aware of the relation between Yuma County, the Yuma Desert, and San Diego, it is literally a straight shot. You just get on Interstate 8 and go west. That's really all there is to it. But once I hit the highway, my GPS kicked on. And it said, in a mile, take the next exit on Ogilvie Road. Now, I have lived in the Yuma Desert since the 90s. I moved out here when I was just barely 20 all by myself, and I have never been on Ogilvie Road. And not only had I not been on Ogilvie Road, but I did not have my GPS on. So I talk about obedience to spirit so much, and I think people don't really understand what exactly that means or how I go about that. And so a lot of times the guidance that I receive is here. It's this telepathic magic that happens in my mind that tells me to do something, and I hear it. And it's not ego, and it's not the intellect. And so to help you understand better the difference between the ego, the intellect, and divine direction, is that divine guidance, direction, ascended voices, angelic, and the heavens and the cosmos will always speak to you in support and inspiration. It will never berate you, and it will never tell you to do anything that would keep another captive or in harm. So it would never tell you to be dishonest, out of integrity. It never takes you out of love. But you have to be so unwaveringly present to get those messages clear. So many people erroneously believe that it's opening the third eye or clearing the ajna or the crown that pulls those divine voices. And it's not. It's actually having a healed lower chakra system that integrates the highest aspects of spirit into your human. So when I say I'm more spirit than human, that's what I mean. I am integrating highest aspects of divine spirit into my human. So sometimes it comes telepathically, and sometimes it comes through GPS that I didn't have on at all. There would be no reason to use a GPS going from Yuma to San Diego. And so when it said, take the next exit in 1 mile, take the next exit to the right on Ogilvy Road, I took it. I didn't question it. I was shocked to hear my GPS coming through my radio, and I took the turn when it came. And like I said, I had never been on that road before. So I drove, and probably about 2 miles in the road, which just leads directly north into this desolate desert. And it goes the east side and the back of the dunes. And so the Yuma Dunes are pretty famous. That's where they filmed the movie Stargate and Star Wars. So when you see those expansive dunes, sand dunes, that's actually here in Arizona, not like the Sahara. Anyhow, I was driving on this road, and the road is not terribly beautiful. It's a pretty old, cracked up road, but I started receiving downloads. Now, I know that this is also a word used a whole lot, and I can feel the energy of some using the word that they really don't know exactly what that means or what it is. And, oh wow. She said I passed right through Orange County where I live. Yes. So up there on Ogilvy Road, where I started receiving the download. Downloads are information by way of frequency. So when you're receiving downloads, it's not like the direction that I receive, like divine voice, where I'm actually hearing very specific direction that I am being obedient to. It's frequency that's literally pouring through my crown into my body. And normally that happens in meditation or while I'm sleeping. But this particular day, it happened while I was driving, and it had never before in my life happened while I was driving. It's actually very dangerous that happened. So I don't think it was an accident that happened on that desolate desert road. There were no other vehicles. And so when I am receiving downloads, my entire body will start convulsing. And I can literally feel it like tapping up my spine, all the way from my tailbone to the base of my cranium. And it literally feels like fingers going like this, the entire length of my spine. And I can feel all of my chakras beginning to spin. But what happens usually in downloads is that I cried karmic tears. And so again, remember, when you are burning karma, the tears come from the outside of the eyes. There are no tear ducts on the outside of the eyes. The tears that come from the middle of the eyes, the inside of the eyes, is where the tear ducts are, and that's processing emotion. Both are good. One is not better than the other. But when I am receiving downloads, it does cause me to burn karma. So while I was driving, the tears just started pouring. And so while I drove, I picked up my phone and took a picture. And I looked at it much later, and you can see my pupils are extremely dilated. My face was beginning to get red because I was crying. And so I will be sharing like kind of a slideshow of all the photographs that I've taken that connects these days. So this particular day, I just kept going. I drove and I went to San Diego, spent the day in San Diego. But I decided to go on that piece of road on my way home as well. But it was after midnight. It was well after midnight when I was coming back from San Diego. So for those of you who don't know, Yuma to San Diego, it's about 2.5 hours if you're going the speed limit, or if you're not diverted into the desert. So it's about 2.5 hours. And it's easy to go and spend a day trip in San Diego. Anyhow, I pulled into the desert on my way home, and I was going to get out because I knew there was something very special and specific about why Spirit wanted me to be on that piece of road. And when I got there, I parked and I got out of my car, and I could feel this immense energy moving through me, but I also felt very much surrounded. I knew I was not alone. There is so much spirit in that desert, not only other dimensional beings, but earthbound energy, and my heart is literally fluttering. My heart chakra right now is like so intensely fluttering. I just want to share that as I'm speaking this story and sharing it with you. It's super intense. So I freaked myself out, even though I told myself I would never be scared to be out somewhere like that alone, and go, if I would be facing abduction, I would still be okay with it. But that's a lie. I scared the fuck out of myself. And Stephanie said, my light bulb just went out, and it is intense. Wow. So I got back in my car and I said, I will be coming back here to make an offering. And so I returned on Saturday. It was Saturday the 18th of February, and I will show you those photographs as well where I was. So Saturday the 18th of February 2019, I found that piece of Ogilvy Road, and there was a beautiful wash that literally ran across the road from the east desert into the west, and it came out of Picacho. So Picacho is a beautiful mountain range, and I do believe there are multiple portals there. Now, I had been to Picacho on the east side of the mountain range, but this was the first time that I was ever called to this west side of it, the back side of the mountain range that actually separates the lowest desert of Arizona and California. And so I parked my car, I got out and hiked. So when I make an offering to Gaia, I use what I call gratitude nectar. It's something I make on my own, and a crystal. And this particular day, I also brought herbs. I brought some tobacco mixed with some knick-knack, and I hiked through the wash until I felt good. But it was so magical. It was a really warm day, even though it was February and windy. It was super warm, and the sun was so high and bright in the west sky. And when I turned to look behind me, the moon was just as high and bright and full as the sun in the east sky. And it was so beautiful. I was sandwiched between these two celestial bodies, not unlike what we are right now. Like when I talked about my post being the sun being in Capricorn and the moon being in Cancer. So on that particular day, the sun was in Pisces and the moon was in Virgo. And they are directly across the sky from one another. And it's so beautiful, that energy, because Pisces is that Neptunian, dreamy energy, and that's where the sun was. And Virgo is this mercurial, heady energy, but it's the energy of like newness. I want to see everything new. I want to perceive everything new and communicate what I perceive. And so it was a beautiful day, and I hiked in that wash, and I saw this huge chunk of quartz. I took a picture, and I dug up the quartz, and I made my offering under that big hunk of raw quartz, and then I put the quartz back, and I hiked my way out. And so that's what I came to do, and that's what I did on that Saturday. So Sunday, I was home, my regular Sunday day. I usually spend my Sundays in nature, but because I was out there on Saturday, I decided to do my laundry, which is what I normally do on Saturdays on Sunday. So that particular Sunday, I remember I was doing all my housework. And Monday is also always my day off, and I call it my me day. I want to take a sip. This is a fennel tea, so it has that like delicious licorice flavor with some local raw honey. It's really good. So Monday, there is this beautiful woman out in the foothills of Yuma who does fire cupping, and she's phenomenal. She hasn't been back since COVID. Actually, 2019 was the last time she had come back. But she's actually from China. She married an Alaskan, but they are snowbirds. So she comes down here they winter here. And so whenever she comes, she would text me and say, I'm back in town. And she's the most phenomenal fire cupping practitioner I've ever experienced. Like really phenomenal. Anyhow, I went for a session of fire cupping. And it's always powerful, the fire cupping. It really pulls things to the surface for me to process. And so I do usually process a lot on her table. And so I come out after the session, and I always have almost like this elated high feeling. And I looked out into the distant sky, and I didn't have anything else scheduled for that day. It was just the fire cupping, and then I end every Monday with breath work. So I didn't have breath work until later, until 8 p.m. So I saw off in the distance these really formidable storm clouds, and I said, wow, never rains in the desert. I'm gonna chase that storm. And so it looked like it was just dead north, and I was thinking, oh, maybe Martinez Lake or up Highway 95. So I was like, I'm gonna hit the highway. So I went and got on Interstate 8, but immediately, as soon as I got onto the on-ramp for Interstate 8, Spirit immediately showed me where that storm was. And I knew in that second, I didn't even have to look off to the right of the highway to follow those clouds, because I knew exactly where that storm was. And it was exactly where I made that offering 2 days prior. So I drove directly there, didn't even bother second guessing it. I knew exactly where it was. There was no storm predicted in the forecast. I just knew that this was going to be magic. So I drove straight there, and as soon as I hit that piece of road, this beautiful song, it's called Alive, came on. And so Spirit and I have a beautiful relationship when it comes to music. And I always put my stuff on shuffle, because Spirit speaks to me also through music. And so if you want to hear that song, it's amazing. Anyhow, I just started crying. It was so amazing. And then it poured, literally, and I recorded the rain hitting my car, driving to that piece of road. And as soon as I got to the spot where I had made the offering, I parked. I got out and I looked in the west sky, looked in the east sky, and I was like, this is so amazing. I can't believe it's raining. And I remember texting a good friend of mine, Rudy, and I texted him and I said, I think I made it rain in the desert. And he said, of course you did. So I kind of laughed to myself, but I was crying, like so filled with gratitude. My heart, I could feel my heart expanding. And then I could literally feel Gaia embracing me. And all of the spirits that I had felt that one night when I got scared and got back in my car, and all the spirits that I felt the day that I went to make the offering, because I had to do it in daylight, I could feel them all offering this blessing of gratitude. And my body just felt so lit up and electric. And I turned to get back in my car, and immediately I was inside of this double rainbow. And I was completely stunned, shocked. So first of all, I think I've only ever seen a double rainbow like once in my life, and it was a piece of a double rainbow. It wasn't even the entire rainbow from start to finish. Not only that, I had never been inside of a rainbow, literally in it. And never, ever in my life, more than 4 decades, had I ever seen the place where the rainbow literally kisses the earth. And you could see it so bright, almost like Gaia had illuminated that space and said, touch me here. It was so magical, phenomenal. And I recorded it. I took tons of pictures, which you will also see, because the post after this one, I'll share all of those photographs. But it was so magic. And I knew something special is going to happen. This cannot be for nothing. I know that my offering was accepted, was received, and also reciprocated. I could feel it in that moment, that me honoring spirit, that cosmic energy pouring through me that day, giving me the downloads and showing me right here, and me being obedient and going back and making that offering. And then also just truly following the drive to know this is where that storm is on my day off. And I went directly there. And for that to happen in that moment, that is not a coincidence. And so why I really wanted to share this story is, yes, I'm owning it. I made it rain in the desert. My offerings were a gift that did not go unnoticed. I was obedient, and I was blessed for that obedience. I made it rain. And then I was gifted this beautiful rainbow and experience. But it is because of that obedience that my life is full of magic. Not because I seek it, but just because I exist. I exist in an unwavering presence and reverence and heart-centeredness. I am forever in my integrity. And that makes a difference, and I want you all to know that. That, yes, I am unique. Yes, my life is magic. But yours can be too. Yours can be too. And so what I learned later that day, because I went to look up the moon and the sun, that full moon that was happening, actually that Sunday, which was the day after I made the offering, was at 1 degree Virgo. And that energy was meant to stay in that power for 3 days until Wednesday. So I was there on Monday. My natal moon is at 1 degree Virgo. There were no planets in retrograde. The sun was in Pisces. But Chiron had just spent its first and full day in Aries that same day. My natal Chiron is in Aries. Aries went retrograde this year, and that's where Chiron went retrograde. My Chiron and Eris, who is Aries' daughter, and I've shared that story before, are all in Aries. But my port of fortune, which is directly across the sky from a 1 degree Virgo full moon, is in Pisces. So definitely this beautiful trine of energy was no mistake. Trines always create movement. So be aware of that, those blueprints, as above, so below. And I didn't even do that to design the experience that I had. I was just present and I listened. And when your heart is open, your discernment is keener than it can ever be. And that's the story. Like I said, there'll be a whole slideshow of photographs, so you'll be able to see my eyes completely dilated. Was Sherry under the influence? No, Sherry was not. Sherry was driving to San Diego. I was actually on cosmic energy under the influence of a download. So does anyone have any questions about anything I said? Yeah, she said Aries and Chiron healing. And Chiron is now direct. It was powerful. That very long retrograde was powerful this past year. So no questions? Then this concludes story time, y'all. Thank you for joining me. Truly, thank you. I appreciate you sharing your most valuable commodity with me, your energy and your time, this sacred space with me, communing with me. I so appreciate you. And I am sorry for any misalignment that I may have caused. Please forgive me. Thank you for this opportunity. I love you, I love you, I love you. Here's an aerial map. Yuma to San Diego. It's a straight shot. But my GPS took me north on Ogilvie Road. This is me on cosmic energy, eyes dilated, crying tears, shaking uncontrollably. And this is the space I went back to make my offering. Awash in the east dunes in the middle of the desert of Picacho. The sun high and brilliant in one side of the sky, and directly across, the moon just as high and bright. It was magical that day. And this is the space I made my offering, under this quartz. This is the storm off in the distance. This is the storm up close. I parked and got out to feel the rain and witness this storm. And almost immediately, this rainbow appeared. Like magic, a double rainbow. I had never before witnessed the space or the place that a rainbow actually touched the earth. It moved me to emotion. I cried tears of gratitude. It was powerful. Majestic. Phenomenal. Absolutely, divinely designed. But this was a very special day. The full moon, 1 degree Virgo, with the sun directly across the sky in Pisces. No planets in retrograde, but Chiron entered Aries. My birth chart, my moon, 1 degree Virgo, my Chiron in Aries.